it just came to that there was something more that was for me. Having a business, you're just in the grind. And I didn't realize everything that was going on with me physically, emotionally, spiritually, because you're so just in your business and raising kids, and you kind of almost forget about yourself and time. You think there's so much time that you have, and all of a sudden, I turned 50 last year. And it was, wow, I'm already 50. And, where am I going with my life? To kind of backtrack, I had a little intervention with the universe because I was forced to kind of stop because of a personal health reason, and my daughter kind of getting diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So that was like a real awakening for me as a pharmacist professionally and as a mom of like, how did this happen? How did I let this happen? Somebody that's like an A-type personality, always wanting to be in control of everything. How did I let this happen? And it kind of started my journey of self-discovery of like, what am I doing with my life? Where am I spending my time? How am I feeling? Where do I want to go from here? I've always wanted, to do something else, outside of the brick and mortar pharmacy that I have. And I was always looking, but I was in that fixed mindset of it had to do with pharmacy. I'm a pharmacist, so it should have to do with medications. So I was, going to get my board certification in geriatric medicine, believe it or not. And after my daughter's diagnosis, I fell into wanting to figure out what was going on, and kind of learned about functional medicine, which is more of root cause medicine. So I went to do more studying with that, and training, which, was great, where I was able now to help clients really kind of figure out what was going on beyond that quick fix of, getting being the pharmacist providing the medication for my patients. But even then, I really felt like there was something more. My clients were getting better, but there was still something missing. I didn't feel I was getting the results that I could with them. And so I further, again, along with my own personal journey, as I was, opening up my horizons and realizing things that I wanted more out of life, I fell into the teachings of feminine energy, which, I think, running your own business and being in a clinical mindset, I had like completely disconnected, from that thought process, because I'm a doer, like put out the fire, whatever needed to get done. You're just like very linear in your thinking. And I didn't realize how disconnected I really was with my own intuition and trust. And a lot of the choices that I was making was based on running on this fear of, my productivity was based on how well the pharmacies did. So my whole identity was tied into my work, which a lot of us, men and women, we have that identity, and our work is so part of it, regardless of, owning your own business or being in corporate, or being an employee, wherever you are, that identity is so tied with us. And I feel like when you're in midlife, as your body is changing, it's a great opportunity to start taking some of those layers off and really start learning who you are and what is it that you want out of your, not as a mom, not as a daughter, not as a wife, not as a pharmacist, whatever your titles and roles may be. And as I learned about tapping into my own feminine energy, I realized who I was. And so here we are.
That is a lot to unpack. There's so much power in everything that
Yeah.
you're saying. I want to break things down to like smaller parts because what I'm hearing you say is like at the beginning stage, like where you were when we were sort of like at the ordinary day at the office. You were running, not you were not just a pharmacist, but you owned a pharmacy that was very
Mhm.
successful. And it sounds like there were seeds of the discontent that was going on even when you were there. Like, oh, I wonder if there's more. I think I could do more. And then the catalyst for you was your own health issues and your daughter's diagnosis. That was like your wake up call. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah, I was, again, I thought I was a great pharmacist, doing everything that, my patients needed, but I was limited, in what I can do. I felt, I mean, at the time I didn't realize it, but I was boxed in as my role. And with that, I realized there was so much more that I could be doing. And you're comfortable. You're,
Yeah.
we have multiple pharmacies, so the business was doing well, and I should be thinking about just retiring. But, after I, went through the treatment with my daughter, I realized that we were very lucky that I'm in the healthcare field and I was able to ask certain questions, navigate it, but it was still overwhelming. At the end of the day, I was a mom and I, wanted to protect my daughter. And navigating the health system, even for somebody in the health as a health professional, was very difficult. And
So
then,
it's so it sounds like at that point where you were at that like discontent and a wake up call, you applied your analytical mind to say, I just need to figure out what the heck's going on here. Like I need to come up with another solution to help my daughter. And I got to figure out what's going on with me. And it seems like you applied your analytical mind to say, I got to figure out what's going on here. Just like from your training, you used your natural strengths to make sense out of the confusion. Is that accurate? Or you just went with the hunger. Like, I just got to know why. What's going on?
no, I think you put it in the right terms. It was that way because it was a little bit of, the guilt of, like how do, she was 18 years old, like how does that happen? And there was that the hunger of knowing why. I think prior to that, I my health, conditions, I never asked why. It was it was about 10 years prior that I had my own health conditions. I just went right back to work because again, my whole identity was on, you know, my work. If I wasn't productive, if I wasn't working, then who was I? What
Mm.
value was I bringing?
I'm sure
And so I
nobody who's
didn't.
listening and understands the identity, the challenge of your identity being tied to your job. Like, I
Right.
totally get that. Like, that's one of the, like, to me, switching from my consulting business to what I do now as a brand messaging person and a marketing person and all those things. It was like, oh my gosh, to embrace that, I had to let go of this identity. I had to close down the consulting business. I had to stop associating myself with consulting as like me being the consultant to be this business mentor.